Tuesday's show, and a big thanks to NordVPN for their support shown to the channel. If you want to support the channel and get the fastest and best VPN out there, simply visit nordvpn.com/CelticAM. In terms of today's show, just the usual roundup for you, obviously fairly transfer heavy with it being still in the January transfer window. Let's get on with it. Just a wee note for you that the January transfer window actually closes in February this year. So the deadline is February the 2nd. That's due to January the 31st and February the 1st falling on a weekend. So it's Monday, February the 2nd. So an extra couple of days for that wonderful board at Celtic to just take their time and use every single minute of the transfer window. And let's face it, we are going to be going into a weekend Monday still needing things. Yesterday, the Daily Record reporting that a Celtic transfer summit was held. So this was held yesterday evening. They say that Martin O'Neill, Michael Nicholson, Sean Maloney and scouting staff were assembled at Lennoxtown. It said Celtic have taken details about targets on their list, and from this meeting they are expected to narrow things down and push to finalise deals. The report mentions a striker being the main priority, while we're also looking at wide options, central defenders and possibly to bring in another goalkeeper. I mean, I can tell you right now there is no chance Celtic are going to sign a goalkeeper between now and the end of the window. I think we're going to get a striker. I know there's noises being made of us wanting two strikers. I think we'll probably have to settle for one. I think we'll get a winger, a centre-back as well. I would like a central midfielder to be signed, but that doesn't even seem to be mentioned here. In terms of the meeting or the summit itself, I don't think it's a major story, to be honest. I think it'd be more of a story if Celtic weren't having meetings like this. But yeah, the club, I mean, when you do these videos every day during a transfer window, you do feel like you're just repeating yourself. I'm tired of saying it, so God knows how you all feel. The club just need to get on with this. I feel like as a support like this, the latest deadline that we've kind of imposed is this Hearts game, or we need to try and get players in for this Hearts game. But we've had so many deadlines this season, like going back to the summer window, like the start of the competitive season, Flag Day was a deadline. Like, let's get a lot of our business done by that point. And then there was the big one, the Kairat tie. Let's get players in for that one. And this is all fair enough from a fan's point of view. And then, we even had the derby at New Year there. People wanted signings made before that one. Such was the urgent need. And now we've had this Hearts game on Sunday as being a deadline. People want players in by then. The reality is that Celtic just don't clearly work like that. They clearly don't care too much about these individual matches coming up. The only deadline they see is the end of the transfer window. And as I've already said, I'm pretty sure we're going to be going right up to that deadline, still trying to sign players in some sort of frenzied panic. Will we get one in before Hearts? Quite possibly. I don't know. I would love to see a striker signed and starting at Tynecastle, and it probably would give us a better chance of victory than with, for example, Johnny Kenny up front. But it just feels to me like you're clutching if you trust the Celtic board to sign a quality striker in time for that game. Have them up to speed so that they can make a difference in that game. So I want to talk about specific players rather than just airing all my grievances once again. So if we start with the striker position, the situation at the moment with a number of the names we've been linked with, because we have been linked with a number of names, it's hard to keep track of it all. So I'll do my best to just tell you where we are with all of these. So the first one is Callum Wilson. Bit of a change in his situation, actually. You'll know that we were linked with him last week. He was set to leave West Ham. We then found out that it was Saudi Arabia he was going to. So the update here is that he is actually now set to stay with West Ham for the rest of this season. He came on as a very late sub for them at the weekend. He actually scored the winning goal a minute on the pitch to beat Spurs in the London derby. So he's now going to be staying with West Ham. He wasn't going to be coming to us anyway. Now he's certainly not doing that, so we can forget about Callum Wilson. Franko Kovacevic, who is the Celje striker, Croatian. He is in Hungary and about to be announced as a Ferencváros player. Reports in Croatia saying that they are signing him for around about £2.5 million. He has an excellent scoring record this season on Transfermarkt. 25 goals in 28 appearances. That's a goal every 81 minutes on the pitch, including 12 in Europe this season across the Europa League and Conference League. But he is heading to Ferencváros instead of us. We've also been linked with David Datro Fofana. Now, yesterday the news was that Chelsea have recalled him from his loan in Turkey with Fatih Karagümrük. So they are the worst team in the Turkish Super League this season. Bottom of the league, they've got 9 points all season. Despite that, Fofana has managed 6 goals in 13 Turkish League matches, a couple in the Cup as well. He's one of these players that like Chelsea signed a number of years ago, maybe with a view to making it for them, but maybe more with a view to just loaning them out to a million clubs. So he's on his 4th loan spell away at the moment. He's been at the likes of Union Berlin and Burnley in the past. Chelsea actually paid £8 million for him from Molde in 2023, and he is someone that has been linked with us. From watching a few clips of him, seems like he's quite a decent footballer, can come towards the ball, link the play, which is something we've badly lacked in recent years. Appears to have a little bit of pace as well, which we don't really have at the moment at all throughout the entire squad. He also, as I say, decent scoring record this season with a struggling team in Turkey. So maybe with a team like ourselves who should be creating more chances, he could prove to be quite a good signing. There's also a mention yesterday from Fabrizio Romano saying that Chelsea and Fofana's camp were working on a permanent exit. So is that to us? Well, based on recent events, probably not. Based on recent events, he's probably signing for Hearts. Other strikers we've been linked with, Kieran Bowie at Hibs, no update there. Lorient's Mohamed Bamba, also an option. There was chat of us making a loan offer to them with an option to buy. He's probably the least exciting of all the strikers we've been linked with. He's got 1 goal in 16 League and games this season, so you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to be him we'll end up with. We are also looking at centre-backs. At present, we have Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, Stephen Welsh and Dane Murray as our options. We've been linked with Frankfurt Swiss central defender Aurèle Amenda. However, yet another twist in that kind of interest. Frankfurt actually sacked their head coach Dino Topmuller the other day. Marco Rose expected to be appointed their new manager. So you would kind of think with that upheaval going on, they wouldn't be looking to sell someone who has featured a bit for them in recent times. And obviously someone like Rose could come in and really like the look of him. So it appears like that one's probably not going to happen. We could definitely do with a centre-back. I feel like our issue right now, like I find the centre midfield more of an issue than centre-back. Like I think we're keeping a number of clean sheets, and while like I'm not exactly enthused by, as I say, Trusty, Scales, Welsh, Murray as our centre-back options, if it is a straight shootout for me between adding another centre-back to that or injecting a bit of life into the midfield, I'm definitely wanting a midfielder signed. Things have gone quiet over Ignacio Nacho La Quintana. He's a Uruguayan winger playing in Brazil. We had heard about him a number of weeks ago. I don't know if he's one of those that was lined up under Wilfried Nancy. I think he'd even been at Celtic Park, and maybe now Nancy and Paul Tisdale have moved on. Maybe we're looking in a different direction. Also, some growing chat about Tawanda Maswanhise, the Motherwell winger. Now, Martin O'Neill and Mark Fotheringham were at the Motherwell game in the Cup at the weekend. Martin O'Neill asked about it. He maintains it was a footballing visit, and clearly there's going to be a lot of chat about us being in for Maswanhise, who's a really kind of tricky winger, did really well at AFCON for Zimbabwe as well. Have seen it mentioned by a few people that maybe Stephen Welsh could be used in any deal. Welsh can only play for ourselves or Motherwell now for the rest of the season. You can't play for 3 different teams. Basically, everyone, to sum things up, a lot of different names. None of them appear to be anywhere close to signing for us, which is kind of the Celtic transfer way. Also a report yesterday that I don't want to spend too long on because I don't really see it coming to fruition, certainly this window. But yeah, on Arne Engels, now Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg tweeting, exclusive, RB Leipzig are also exploring a deal for Arne Engels. For example, if Rocco Reitz does not arrive in the summer, I think Rocco Reitz is like their kind of first choice here. He says, a winter departure for Engels is also possible. Plenty of inquiries. The 22-year-old top midfielder is under contract with Celtic until 2028. Yeah, it doesn't seem particularly likely here to me. It seems like Leipzig have other options that are ahead of Engels, a number of options. I doubt we'd want to sell Arne Engels at the moment either. It might be a different story in the summer, potentially. But right now, I think the thought of like losing any key first team players is pretty unthinkable. So I don't see that one coming at all, but I did want to tell you about that. There was another transfer story. It's from a couple of days ago, but it's kind of less about the player himself and more about maybe what it says about things. It came from the Yorkshire Evening Post's chief football writer, Graham Smith, who was talking about a loan request we made to Leeds United for their player Joel Pirro, being met with bemusement and laughed off this week. Now, I'll just read this from the Yorkshire Evening Post. It says, on Friday, the Yorkshire Evening Post reported that reports north of the border that Celtic were in talks with Leeds over a loan move for Pirro were wide of the mark for numerous reasons. Club sources have stressed throughout the January window that although Pirro has suitors in the Championship and abroad, he wants to stay and prove himself as a Premier League player, and there is no attempt to force him out of Elland Road. What's more, a loan would be far less useful to Leeds than a permanent sale, which would be far more helpful with their profitability and sustainability position and their hopes of signing another target man in the window. The YEP has learned, however, that Celtic did make the suggestion, which did not lead to talks, but was laughed off in bemusement due to the Scottish club's apparent lack of appreciation for the relationship between 49ers Enterprises' two clubs. The question was raised if Celtic's suggestion was a serious one. Leeds and Rangers boast two entirely separate operations and two sets of decision makers when it comes to day-to-day business, but enjoy a close working relationship. 49ers Enterprises Supremo Parag Marath is chairman of Leeds and vice chairman of Rangers. The idea of him sanctioning the move of a player from one of his clubs to aid a direct title rival of his other club is a bizarre one, particularly because the suggestion was for a loan. While Celtic could match Pirro's wages, the same can be said for a number of Championship clubs, so if Marath and Leeds wanted the striker off the books in a temporary move, there would be other options open to them. So basically here, Celtic have made an approach for this Leeds United player. And by the way, I should say this is a trusted source. This is a Yorkshire Evening Post. Celtic made an approach for this Leeds United player, either not aware of the relationship between Leeds United and Rangers and that they're both part of this kind of 49ers group, or aware of it, but just thinking that Leeds would be all right with it. Whatever way you look at it, not fully kind of aware of the situation and the dynamics at play here. And again, it just feeds into this notion and idea of Celtic just not really being on the ball with these things and coming across unprofessional, underprepared. Like, remember how the go-ahead Eagles guy spoke about us in the summer and kind of painted this picture of, Celtic just being pretty unprofessional and difficult to deal with. And it was at Birmingham City as well over the Yang stuff, I remember. Now you've got Leeds United boardroom figures having a laugh about the situation. It's a bit of a concern if the Celtic decision makers weren't aware of the Leeds United, Rangers, 49ers links. Like, these are the people kind of making the big decisions at our club, and they've been laughed at yet again by other clubs. Anyway, everyone, that's where we're at for now. We are just preparing for Bologna on Thursday night in a game that you will either care a lot about or a little about. Regardless of that, we are going to discuss it on tomorrow's video and beyond. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you then.